I started in options in 2022 with one of those clickbait videos on YouTube where somebody made an exponential amount of money. And I was just curious. I used the Fibonacci tool to set up my entry level stop loss and profit taker. It listens to the customers and also has really accessible prices.
Hello, Inaira. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm okay. Thank you. How are you?
Can't complain. Everything's all right. So, before we dive into your trading strategy, can you introduce yourself a little bit to Ian Markets community?
Yes, so my name is Inaira. I've been trading for about 2.5 years and trading with E8 since September of 2022.
Okay. And what led you to step into the realm of trading? Why did you start trading?
I started in options in 2022 with one of those clickbait videos on YouTube where somebody made an exponential amount of money. And I was just curious to know whether it was true or not. At first, I kind of scrolled past the video, but then I think I was so curious, I went back and I just thought, well, let me check out what this person is talking about. And it was actually in options. It was like a news day in options where there was a huge spike and that person had done like $20,000. They also had a group and I was very easily lured into that group to see what it was and to learn options. Mm-hmm. I think I traded options. Well, I tried trading options for about 6 months. But then options has so many factors that makes your options lose value that I just gave up on it. When I heard about Forex not having expiration dates or anything, I just said, well, that's a no-brainer. I'm switching to Forex and I never looked back.
Okay, and you did obtain your expertise and knowledge in that group? Generally speaking about the trading.
I was able to learn about a little bit about options in that group, but I didn't really identify with their methods of teaching.
Okay.
I felt like they didn't have enough material. They did mostly video calls where they explain things live, while I need like a video or a book that I can go over and over again. So I was feeling a little bit lost. When I moved to Forex, I was able to find a lot of information on YouTube. And I just created a playlist of over like 100 videos, different strategies. So in the beginning, it was very, very complicated, like finding my way in, strategy hopping a lot. But eventually I was able to find something that it was simple and that it worked. So I just stick to that.
Mm-hmm. So the strategy that you are trading right now is the strategy that you have learned on the YouTube and you developed it, or you're using it as you have learned it, or did you somehow improve the strategy?
Well, first I tried to add a lot of different confluences because I kept hearing these gurus saying that you can't just use one thing. You need to add several different factors to make your strategy stronger. But I felt like that was actually what kept me from being profitable because at some point I had a lot of things that I needed to pay attention to. So I went back to step one, to the strategy in a very simple way. And I just said, you know what? People say that every strategy works, right? They say that we shouldn't keep changing every time. So I'm going to stick to this until I get it right. And I just went back to backtesting, just kept backtesting, had very bad results at first, but then something started clicking. And that's when I made very few and small adjustments that I will show in my charts, like where the stop loss stays, whether I have a bigger or smaller stop loss, whether I have a bigger or smaller take profit. That actually helped me. So right now I have a very simple strategy. Without all of the extra confluences, and that's what's working for me. So definitely it's to each their own.
Yeah, sometimes even the simplest strategy might be very profitable. So it's not doing it overcomplicating the trading, having tens of indicators and getting lost in it. Yeah. Moving to your strategy, can you please specify a little bit what is your trading strategy? Are you a technical trader, fundamental trader?
Yeah, I'm not a fundamental trader. To be honest, I'm still learning to correlate the news with the market. And I'm still trying to just get to that level where I feel very, very comfortable with my technical analysis. I don't want to mix both. So first, I want to dominate the technical part, and then maybe one day I'll move to the fundamental analysis. So right now, I would say that I'm 100% technical analysis trader.
So purely price action, just watching the charts and entering based on that. Okay. Can you maybe even let us share your screen and outline what is your strategy looks like, or how do you approach the market?
Yes. So I prepared 3 different pair in any pair. So for example, this is our US dollar. This is Aussie. Can you see my screen properly?
Yes,
okay. So I didn't really get along with the smaller time frames. I don't like sitting down and waiting for things to happen on the smaller time frames. And also they give me anxiety. So I usually trade on the 1 hour and 4 hour. And my strategy is basically just waiting for a break of structure, a sweep of liquidity. First, a sweep of liquidity, then a break of structure. And then I use the Fibonacci tool to set up my entry level, stop loss, and profit taker. So here, for example, we can see that there was a sweep of liquidity in this level here, and we have a very clear break of structure in this level here. So I would just wait for the price to retrace and to define my entry zones. I will use the Fib tool and just put it from one end to the other. And enter on the 618 level. So usually the Fib tool, it does come with a few more levels. We have the 0.5, we have the 382 level. So because those levels are not relevant to me, I just take them off and I'll leave it like this. And then my entry here would be on this level, just put my stop loss here and get out on the 0.236. Yes. So the price usually does go to 0, but I noticed that a lot of times it gets to this level and it retraces. So I just prefer to be sure. I just prefer to do something like this. So this would have been a perfect trade for me and a setup, I would say, trade for me.
Very clear. So just to sum up the strategy, you're basically looking for a break of the structure, so creation of the new trend. And once the trend is set, then you wait for the price to do a correction, at the best to a 61.8 Fibonacci retracement, and there is where you entering the market, right?
Yes. And this is usually a 1-2 risk to reward. Yeah.
Would you say you're a day trader? Are you holding trades for longer than a day, or is it just based on the time frames that you are trading, you're mostly aiming to close the trade at the same day?
Yes, I really like when my trades close on the same day, but ideally I would say 4 hours to a day trading. So I'm kind of like intraday and swing trade. So if I find a setup on the 4 hours, a lot of times it will take 1 to 2 days to finish. If it's on the 1 hour, it can just be done within the same day, the same way it happened with this one.
Okay.
It was just.
Regarding your risk management strategy, you said that your risk reward ratio is about 1 to 2, 1 to 3. And how much percent are you risking per trade?
Between 0.5 and 1%. That's actually a problem that I had in the beginning, where I used to over leverage a lot, and that caused me to lose my accounts quite often. So once I was able to get really disciplined with my risk management, I also became more profitable. Yeah.
Okay. Risk management is one of the most important factors when trading.
Yeah.
Keeping it down, a little bit more conservative. Not a bad idea. Okay, thank you for sharing the strategy and the charts.
Okay.
I think that viewers can make a clear picture of what is your strategy like.
Yeah.
And what markets are you primarily trading? You said you're Forex trader, so you just trading pairs, or do you also any other markets?
Yes, so at the moment, I'm only trading pairs. I do have about 6 pairs in my watch list. I have Euro US dollar, GBP, AUD US dollar, NZD US dollar, and I think NZD CAD, maybe 1 or 2 more. And I also have some indices, but I'm not really trading them. I'm just I'm just looking at the market, trying to see how it moves, to get myself used to it. And I will eventually then backtest to see if it works with my strategy. But I never really traded any indices.
Yeah, so just right now, just testing if the strategy will work on them, and if so, you might be adding them in the future, right?
Yes.
Okay, to give a few tips for beginners and newcomers in the markets, what do you believe personally is the key for long-term success in trading?
I think that just trying to see what works best for you, even if you have a mentor or you are in a group, make sure you backtest a lot and play around with the settings. Just see what could work, what are the other options. Because I've been in groups where they only traded smaller time frames, sometimes even down to the seconds. And that's just not something I could do. But the group was very successful. Initially, when we are beginners, we usually think that we are the problem. Well, if I cannot learn this strategy, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. No, maybe try the strategy in other time frames. Maybe try it in another pair. Also, don't keep your watch list so long. Get used to a few pairs, maybe a few that move similarly. Some pairs will correlate, some won't. So just try to see the ones that are not so volatile and not so aggressive, and start on those, and then gradually move to other pairs.
Yeah. That's a great tip. And on the other side, besides focusing on less assets to trade, do you also see any mistakes that beginners or you at the very beginnings were doing, and what mistakes that should be avoiding in order to succeed within the markets?
Yes. So I was comparing myself a lot to other people, especially when I didn't know how long they were trading for. Sometimes I used to see people using the same strategy or the same pairs, and they had exponential success, and I just couldn't find it, even if I was backtesting a lot or following somebody else's strategy to the T. So don't compare yourself too much, especially on social media. I would say don't follow as many gurus out there as we see online. Just stay by yourself. If you can have a mentor to help, then that's great. But always write down what you think you should do. And stick to that. Like, listen to your inner thoughts and follow your gut.
I totally agree with that. Okay, thank you for tips. So,
all right.
I would also like to ask you, how was your experience with us, the markets? Did you enjoy trading with us?
Yes, I do enjoy trading. I started trading in 2022. I think at the time there was two different plans. But I think since last year, E8 is one of the few companies that has really been innovating on the plans that there are available. Because, with trading, it's not like one size fits all. Some people will adapt better to the one phase, other people to the three phase. And the fact that E8 listens to the customers and tries to create programs that are good for everyone, and also has really accessible prices and the customizable features, which is something that nobody else has. That's really, really good. And that's what I love about E8.
We appreciate that review. Company. Thank you very much. And how much have you earned with us so far?
I've withdrawn about K.
Okay.
Until now, which is, I think it's what I had invested in the first year, and I was able to just get that back from E8 alone, which makes me really happy.
Yeah, so would you say failing some evaluation is, generally speaking, inevitable? It has to come down to failing some evaluation in order to grow and eventually succeed? Yes,
I think that once you go into a funded account, your psychology kind of changes. So if I'm constantly on demo, I can become profitable, but that sense of risk is not really there. If you lose money, it doesn't really hurt. It doesn't really hurt you. It doesn't really make you feel bad. But once you have a funded account, the responsibility will increase, and the discipline will need to be much bigger. So I think that you eventually have to go for the funded accounting. You have to understand that losses are a part of the game, and you have to accept them. What's most important is you having a good risk management, so that whenever you lose, you know that eventually you'll win again, and you will recuperate all the losses.
Yeah, I agree to that. So I think I've got all of my questions answered. So thank you very much for making this interview happen. Thank you for your time and effort. for meeting me here.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, we appreciate you for trading with us. So I hope we see each other in the future once you earn even more with the 8 markets.
All right.
So I'll be looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You
Take
too.
care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.